And we're going to start out with the young studs in the league in my top 5 list of wide receivers under the age of 25. There was about a list of 50 I was sent. They could go in any order. I'm giving you mine. And I'm starting off in Philadelphia. And I'm going with their newest acquisition, Mr. A.J. Brown at number 5. I think A.J. Brown is still considered a prospect with so much more to go. This is not a finished product, and we saw just a taste of what he can do in a big game. In week 16 last year, with the number 1 seed on the line and with the Niners playoff hopes dangling, A.J. Brown, coming off an injury, just had an absolute dominant performance. It was this game where I'm like, this guy's a number 1 in the league. This guy's a number 1 because he threw his team on his back and said, I'll lead you there. Take a look at his numbers from this game. 11 receptions, coming off an injury, mind you, 145 yards and a touchdown. He had 8 different catches on 3rd down. He was traded? You trade that guy? They traded that guy. I'm still shocked by the deal, and it's been nearly 2 months after the fact. The Eagles get him, and everyone assumes he's the number 2 to Devontae Smith. I think he's the number 1. Devontae and him could be 1 and 1A. He's number 5 on my list. Number 4 is a young man who actually played college football with him, and I think had a down year statistically, but isn't gonna have a down year again. And I don't care who's at quarterback. Give me DK Metcalf. I'm still on DK's boat on this thing. I don't think he was a product of Russell Wilson. I think he's an absolute freak, and he has proved it year after year after year. And if you look at his first 3 seasons in the NFL, and you look at receiving touchdowns as a statistic, take a look at the company he's in. It's Randy Moss, who had the most bananas first couple years anyone could have. Odell Beckham, who was insane. And then it's DK Metcalf, number 3. Now, who are the best receivers? Now, you can say, well, what about who's throwing him the ball? Who's throwing the ball? Let's see. Let's see how he does without Russell Wilson, because I think DK Metcalf might have a better year in an offense that is not as improvised, and it's, hey, let's get DK the ball on this route, and DK can go do his thing. DK Metcalf is still awesome. He's still looking for that big contract, and I think he's gonna have a monster 2022. Number 3 on my list, I'm going to Dallas, where CeeDee Lamb is my selection. I'm as big a CeeDee Lamb fan as you're gonna find coming into the league, and now that he's in the league. He's entering year number 3, and I think now that Amari Cooper is officially gone to Cleveland, CeeDee Lamb is going to be not only a number 1 wide receiver on this team, he's going to be viewed as one of the top wide receivers in the entire NFL. Let's take a look at those first 2 seasons and understand that Andy Dalton was at quarterback for a lot of the first one. And then last year, they were dealing with ups and downs with injuries all over the offensive line and at other positions. CeeDee Lamb has just done nothing short of just show up. As far as Cowboys receivers go, you could argue there's been no better statistically through 2 years of their career in the Super Bowl era than CeeDee Lamb, and I think he's just getting started. The miraculous plays you see, the unbelievable catches, the after the catch, the way they have not used him in the running game, that he could do that as well. CeeDee Lamb is as dynamic a player in this league, and I believe he's just getting started. It's now going to be yet another year in Kellen Moore's system, but when you remove Amari Cooper, you now give all those targets to both Gallup and Lamb. I think CeeDee is going to have a monster 2022. Which leaves us to our top 2, and you can go either way with this one, and I'm sure a lot will go the other way, but I'm starting off with number 2. I'm going JaMarr Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals. JaMarr Chase had the best rookie season we have ever seen from an NFL player as a wide receiver, and he brings everyone back with him. And that doesn't just mean Joe Burrow and offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. It means Tyler Boyd will be there, it means T. Higgins will be there, and it means they beefed up the offensive line. Look at the stuff that he did in his first season, and it's incomparable to anybody else. Randy Moss was long considered the best of all time as a rookie. JaMarr Chase had better numbers. And as far as just ranks across the board, we know what he did as far as, you know, breaking all the records from his standpoint, but receiving yards was 4th all time. Yards per reception was 2nd. Receiving touchdowns was 3rd. JaMarr Chase was an absolute dog and had as good a rookie season from any offensive player I think we've ever seen. And I mean that. That's Randy Moss, and that's all those rookie running backs who have had huge numbers. And yet, he's not my number 1. because I'm going with his college teammate, Justin Jefferson, as my number one top wide receiver under the age of 25. Do it once, JaMarr Chase. Do it twice, and then you're Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was incredible that rookie season, and it was like, all right, let's see what he does with another year, with another offensive coordinator. And he was better. He was better last year. Justin Jefferson was incredible last season, and he's only getting better. Take a look at the first 2 seasons of any NFL player from this position, and the stats they add up. Justin Jefferson not only has 300 yards on Odell, he's got 300 yards on Randy Moss, and he's got more than Jerry Rice in his first 2 years. Cousins is back. You now add in Kevin O'Connell, who I spent time with this past weekend. He was at the McVay wedding as well. We were talking about Justin Jefferson and just what an outstanding player he is. He's only getting better. He's only getting better. Remember, he had that huge college season. They were like, is that a one-year wonder? Can he run a 40? Goes to the combine, runs a 4.3 40 when everyone was expecting a 4.5. Has an amazing rookie season in the COVID-shortened year, and then has an even better sophomore season. Justin Jefferson's my number one over JaMarr Chase. Let's see the top 5 right now visually. Let's put this out on Twitter. Have everyone crush me, say I'm a fool. They might be right. Here's how I have it. 1 is Justin Jefferson. 2 is JaMarr Chase. 3 is CeeDee Lamb. 4 is DK Metcalf. And 5 is AJ Brown. And you wonder, well, then who are you leaving off? Who are the guys? There's plenty, and there's a lot of people who are going to be angry. Here's some of the ones that just missed my cut. I'd say honorable mention, but if you were worth mentioning, I would have, and I didn't mention you. Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Darnell Mooney, who I think everyone's excited about the potential, Devontae Smith, Amon-Ra, and of course there's all the rookies now. I start with MJD. What do you think of the list, and who did I leave off that's really bugging you right now?
I don't really think anyone's you left off. I just feel like AJ Brown should probably go to 3 and CeeDee Lamb go to 5 because we just never seen CeeDee Lamb be that number one guy yet. And as we believe he could do it, but like you said, AJ Brown, when healthy, may be the best receiver in the game.
For me, Shrakes, I think if you could have switched 1 and 2, I know you said you were deliberating back and forth over the 2, but I just think JaMarr Chase helping the Bengals get to the Super Bowl. He broke Justin Jefferson's rookie record there, multiple 200-yard games. And Derek Stingley Jr. was even asked who was the toughest one to guard out of the 2 at LSU, and he said JaMarr Chase because he was stronger. So for me, I know it's a little bit of a nitpick, but I would switch those 2, Kyle.
It's fine.
Peter, it's a great list. You always stuck that landing of slightly controversial while still having this foundation of truth.